Hi there, Dolly friends, and a special hello to all my new Dolly friends who have subscribed recently. I'm so happy that you're all here today. Here is my Triang 50 house, which I'm turning into a laundry. I've created a playlist for this project if you need to refer to that or you haven't seen some of the other videos. In fact, I've created playlists for all my videos if you're interested in seeing some stuff. So here is how we left it with the sanding being done and it's getting ready to be primed and painted. I'm going to use a rust stabilizer. And the reason I'm showing you all this kind of drudgery is because if you are brand new to things like me, I want you to see that I'm willing to try it and you could be willing to try it too for your project. So I did do a little bit of research and I decided on this product. It's called a rust converter. I think it's really kind of for spraying things that have a lot more rust than mine does, but I'm going to use it anyway because it does prime the surface. It goes on clear and then the parts that are especially rusty turn black. And I'm going to do about 2 coats. I can't remember what it said. I read all the directions and I waited the amount of time in between. I did everything by the book, which I usually don't, but I didn't want to ruin this project. I didn't want to ruin this house any more than it already was damaged. So it kind of turned the rust a little bit black. Not too much, but yeah, it does create a little bit of a surface, which you can kind of feel when you touch it. And I waited until it was dry. I did 2 coats of that, and I'm just feeling it and making sure that it's completely dry. And I did tape off the other side there. And I'm going to spray this side now. And I thought that this side would turn a lot more black than the other side, but it really didn't. I think I did a really good job of cleaning off the rust on it.
This was after 1 coat. This is a bit darker. I'm not sure, but I'm going to do 1 more coat, I think. So this is just 1 coat. I guess I did such a good job cleaning it that I don't have to do any more. It's getting cloudy out here again, so I better hurry up.
So I waited the allotted time and both sides are primed and ready for paint. I'm only going to paint the inside today.
Let's see. Well, that didn't do anything. It says wait 1 minute between coats. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get back to you. Here we are. I know it's kind of, it's not getting dark, but it's cloudy out here. I don't even know if you can hear me through my mask and the noise. This is, I don't even know. This is about 5 coats, maybe more, maybe 6. I'm going to do 1 more coat. So you can see that, you know, where it was a little bit uneven or it seemed to be uneven, or where there were rust. But that's okay. I'm not trying to fully, you know, restore or, you know, get it back to its original condition, but I want it to be better than it was. And you're not even going to see this part too. That's why I thought I'd go ahead and start on the inside. So I'm going to do 1 more coat and I'm going to leave it overnight.
I do want you to know that I tried to gently hammer out the dented parts with a soft hammer, and it did not budge. So I decided to leave it as it was because of my inexperience. I didn't want to risk totally smashing it up. I didn't pay much for it. It was in bad condition, and it's okay. Okay.
So I think it looks pretty good. It says it can be handled after after an hour, and that it dries to the touch after 20 minutes. So I'm gonna leave it out here for an hour, hoping it doesn't get drizzly, and then I'm going to set it inside for the night. And then tomorrow I'm gonna do the other side. Well, it's the next day and it's dried overnight and it looks pretty good. You know, it's not brand new, but it's, I think it looks pretty good. I'm going to move the tape from the other side and get ready to paint this side. Well, I can't wait, and I'm gonna go ahead and do some spraying. So this is Krylon Satin Ivory, and the other side. Here we go. Yeah, not too bad. It already looks different. All right, well, it's 1 minute between coats, and I'll come back to you when it's nearly done. 2 coats, 3 coats. I can't remember what that was now. I think that was 4 coats. Well, I've lost count now. I think that is 5. I'm gonna stop at 5. I am gonna have decals on it. So yeah, the next thing will be to do the inside of the windows, and not quite sure how I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna have to freehand it. Yeah. So sorry for the shadow, but here's the inside and here is the outside, and it looks a little too clean. I didn't want it to look so new. So yeah, I'm gonna probably beat it up a little bit, and yeah, not too much, but I do need to sand the windows in order to paint them at all. It's just not gonna work any other way. Um, and I'm really nervous about it because I don't really know how I'm going to do it. But in the meantime, let's make some stuff. So I saw on little Gretchen's workshop, she received some office supplies, which were just absolutely too darling. And she received a ledger similar to this, and I decided that I wanted to make one because I had the perfect supplies to do so. So I'm just finishing this one up here, and then I'm going to show you how I made these. And I'm going to make some other things for the laundry counter. These ideas came to me and I wanted to run with them. So let's see what I've come up with this week. So I got out my little beads and baubles and findings, and I want you to kind of look at these things and tell me if you can see what I'm making here. It's pretty simple. Now for this first thing that I'm going to make, I thought about using many other little things to make it fancy, but really ultimately I liked the simple look. And I think you'll be able to tell right away what I'm going for here. I'm using my Aleene's Ultimate Glue, which I like for these types of projects. It works really well for putting jewelry pieces and building little things. It works well. It sticks right away, but then it does give you some time to move things around. Can you see what I'm making? Yes, you can. I keep wanting to add more stuff, and it's really hard to restrain myself. I'm sure you can understand. But ultimately, this project really needed just the minimum. The little jump ring didn't work out so well. So yes, you could see that by putting the nail in there, what I'm trying to make is a little service bell. And I put a piece of paper in there because the nail will fall through if I don't do something like that. Sorry, I'm out of the frame. I needed to trim the nail. This is just a nail from some hinges that I bought. The nails came with the hinges, and it trimmed really easily with my wire cutters there. So I'm just trying to center it and get it right in there. I put my glue on and in it goes. It took a little finagling and took some time to get this right. I had to get it between the pieces of paper there, and then I tried to center it. It does take a little bit of patience if you want to try something like this. Can you guess the next thing I'm making? This is another product for the countertop in the laundry and something that you see in businesses. Um, yeah, the bottom part there, the larger finding, is perfect for this project. I'm so excited for this little object here. And then I'm just adding a little bit of detail. I did kind of plan this one out ahead of time, and I just want to show you up close what it looks like. And then I think I'm going to use the black one, and then I won't have to paint it at all. And I'm going to slip it through there from the back. I'm just going to dip it in my glue. Can you see what it is? It's one of those receipt spikes. You know the kind I'm talking about, that you, the old school way of filing where you impale the receipt right on top of the spike. I think this one is being sold right now on Etsy if you want to buy your own. There's lots of them for sale online. Before I can finish that, it needs to dry, but in the meantime, I want to go back to my little receipt booklets. I'm just using the corner of my paper here to add a little bit of silver detail to it. And I like the way that looks. So this green paper is just some chipboard that I painted green for a project, and I don't even remember when I did that. But here is a ledger book that I have. This is a vintage one that I got at a yard sale, and it has so much cool paper inside with details that I can use. It has numbers and words and columns, and I really like it. Someone had written on this piece of paper in the 1990s, and it was the only piece that was torn out of there, and nothing else was written on in the ledger. But the ledger itself is from the 1950s, but I'm going to go ahead and use it. So I just eyeball the size that I wanted and cut some out. And I wrote on some of them, and I'm just stacking them up here. And it just so happened that I had a stapler that was just the right size. And then I folded it and glued it with my 3-in-1 glue into the folded up green paper. This green cardstock is perfect for this project. Sorry that went so fast. I didn't realize that I had it on time lapse. Now my bell and my spike are ready for finishing. I've added some gold rub and buff to the bell, and after it dries, I am going to buff it off. I trimmed the pin on my spike, and I'm painting the base with chalk paint. I think it will give it that sort of cast iron look because you can still see a little bit of the silver metal through it. And I am going to paint it again. So while the paint dries, I'm preparing my little ledgers. I'm using my ruler to put a little crease in it. And then I'm going to use some chalk paint across the top to create, that little black color that you see sometimes on notebooks and receipt books. These are going to be order booklets for the laundry where people would get a tag when they leave their laundry and then bring it back in when it's paid with the number so that they can receive their proper laundry packet. And I'm just going to buff off some of that rub and buff. And let me tell you, it did not want to buff off as much as I wanted. I did end up adding a little bit of black paint to the bell. You can see on my spike that in order to get it pointy, I had to rub it on an emery board, and that made it nice and sharp. And now I'm going to paint it with some green, my gloss green paint, to give it that glossy green color that I like. On some of those receipt spikes had that coloring. And here are some of the tickets that I have ready to go. I'll leave one on the counter. That one's for Mrs. Quince. You can see how I aged the bell and it came out just right. Too bad it doesn't ring. Oh, I just knocked it over. Whoops. So I took out my little counter here because I like to see how the scene is going to look. I'm using a pin to begin a hole there because I don't want to break my receipt spike. I really like the way the scale turned out. This is about a 1/16 countertop because the house is definitely a 1/16. It's not any bigger than that. In order to make the pen, I just used one of those jewelry pins that I used for the spike, and I just kind of rubbed off some of the color on it, and I think it looks like a pen. I have so many ideas for this project. When I get an idea and know that I can execute it, I want to just do it right away. So that's why it's a little bit of a hodgepodge project, this laundry. So I don't know what's going to be next. I know I have to work on pipes and wash tubs, and I'm a little bit nervous about that. I don't have a cemented idea on how to go about that. What do you think so far? These walls and shelves and everything are going to be chock full. Don't worry.
This is Sheila. She's one of the washerwomen in the laundry, but she offered to stand in at the front desk and model the new supplies. To see more, please come back and visit us next time in the doll cupboard.